sending you peace, blessings, abundance, love, everything out into the ether. My loves, my dear hearts. This video is going to be about the asteroid they call Juno and how she impacts your natal chart. So if you've never heard of Juno, that's what I'm here to do, boo. I'm here to go ahead and give you some information on it and, you know, just broaden your horizons about it because, as I said in my last video, I have been doing a whole lot of research and rediscovering some of the things that I already know that's in me because all this knowledge is in us. Is just that it's dormant. Because when I start reading things, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I get it. And it sticks with me versus something I have to reread and reread. Like when I first started to research and try to get back into astrology, I was like, what the hell? Like, it seemed exhausting. It did. I was still interested, but it just seemed exhausting. And then now, like, it's just soaking it up, you know, especially learning about the aspects, the planets, mainly the planets, and how they relate to the tarot cards, and then also the planets and who their characters, their fictional characters from the Bible and Greek mythology and Roman mythology, and of course the ancient Egyptians as well. So yeah, so now I'm going to get into who is Juno. If you guys didn't know, now you're about to know. So Juno is the name given through Roman mythology, just like the name Jupiter is given through Roman mythology. The Greeks called her Hera, Hera. However, she was called Hathor in ancient Egypt and Kemet. Now, Hathor was the wife of Horus, the elder, aka when I say elder, I'm talking about the elder Horus, who is also known as aka Ra. If you don't know, Ra is the planet Jupiter, which, like I said, I'm going to do a video about Jupiter. I got to itch, excuse me. I'm going to do a planet. I'm going to do a video about Jupiter, but probably not today because I just started compiling some information. I might do it later tonight. Who knows? But for right now, TBD. All right. Now, like I said, Hathor was the wife of the elder Horus, aka Ra, the planet Jupiter, and the mother of the younger Horus. So her name means the house of Horus, which is referring to the sky. This also links her to Aset, the wife of Asar, and the mother of Haru, because Aset is the mother of Haru or Horus. So for Hathor to be called the wife of the elder Horus and the mother of the younger Horus, that has to be Aset. So we, like I said before, we know that how in ancient Egypt they would have different names for the different deities, but they would be the, you know, there'd be the original deity or like the one who's like the top deity, the god or the goddess. However, they would just be represented by different names, and then what they did is what changed their name. So if this particular god, you know, was like for fertility or whatever, then they changed the name to something else. Even though she's, you know, not taken away from her original name, she still had that original name, but it may be to govern, or the goddess over everything. You know what I'm saying? The mother of the sky, where this particular one might be just like the goddess of agriculture or something like that, you know. But I'll get more into that. So now she is also called the Eye of Ra. So, you know, we have the Eye of Horus. We have a feminine aspect of the Eye of Horus, and that is the Eye of Ra, okay? Which is the feminine counterpart to the sun god Ra. So why would she not be a set with her being the counterpart to the sun god Ra? It just makes a lot of sense. Now, because of her popularity, she is associated with several other goddesses, especially in function and features. So I feel that all the other goddesses, like I said, are different forms of her, i.e. Sekhmet. Sekhmet is the more, you know, aggressive side. She's the one that'll go to fucking war with you. She don't play no game. She's not that mama nurturer one. She's the side of your mama. Yes, she is. But she's the side of your mama that you done wronged her child. She gonna fuck you up. Okay, that's Sekhmet. That's how I look at Sekhmet. Okay, then you have Bastet, and then you have I think it's called Ihy, Ihy, god of music and dancing. Now, She can be a sun goddess, a sky goddess, a moon goddess, goddess of the west and the east, goddess of fertility, goddess of moisture, goddess of agriculture, and even goddess of the underworld, okay? Now, because of this, she acquired quite a number of different titles. However, strictly speaking, Hathor is the goddess of beauty, okay? She's a goddess of beauty, music, dance, joy, motherhood, and love. She's also the goddess of happiness, and she can also be considered the goddess of marriage, even though marriage is not really technically, something that in astrology per se, they don't really have a marriage title or a god or goddess specifically for marriage. It's not necessarily a thing. It's more about your relationship is the better word, okay? She was considered a protective goddess of the women, especially the pregnant ones, thus linking her to the mother of the pharaoh. She was one of the most important and popular deities throughout the history of ancient Egypt. And actually, she was one of the most popular until they brought in a Set. It's like it was Hathor, and then they started bringing in other ones, which again, all still were her. You see what I'm saying? It was still her. Now, this also makes her interchangeable with the planet Venus, okay? Really the moon too, like if you think of it on a Set, who they call Isis, if you think of it in that respect. Now, Venus represents love and attraction at the earliest stages, while Hathor or / Juno, the asteroid, is related to attachment and loyalty. Juno is the wife of Jupiter, actually, in mythology. So, just to let you know. Now, let's go ahead and get into some other things. Now, I was saying Hathor out of respect for the ancestors because I do like to go back into kind of more of the original. I'm still working on and researching this some more because I want to know more about her. I think she's very interesting. I think this aspect of your natal chart is very interesting. That's the reason why I'm doing this video. And you'll see why when I start getting into it more. But now that I'm going to go forth, I'm going to start talking about it more in a Juno placement because Juno is the name of the asteroid. And not only that, because when you pull up your natal chart, it's going to say Juno. However, at the beginning, to explain the characteristics and the traits of who she is, I wanted you to see her as the Egyptian goddess that she is. All right. Now, what does Juno's placement signify in the natal chart? Juno represents the person we share our lives with. Juno is often called the marriage asteroid because she signifies the spouse you are destined to have. Not the spouse you want to have, the spouse you're destined to have. That is why some associate her placement, in the natal chart to signify meeting your soulmate or your twin flame. So for the people, I was one of them, like, oh my gosh, my twin flame, my soulmate, where he be? I was one of those people, for real. I was really like, focus on that for a minute. Like, let me get my vibrations together, especially at the beginning of my awakening. Let me get my vibrations together so the right person can come to me. And I think for women, a lot of times, the reason why you think that way is because you have been going through so many tumultuous relationships, like abusive or really most relationships are abusive in some shape, form, or fashion when you're not conscious because you're unconsciously harming one another. You know what I'm saying? You're literally like arguing all the time over stupid shit. You don't know how to compromise. You're very selfish and self-centered and all those different things. Or you can be the type of person who's selfless and you just let the person take control. So the reason being is because those are codependent relationships most of the time. And so when you first become enlightened or you start to awaken to your true self, your conscious wakes up, you start to think, okay, now it's time for me to meet the person who's also conscious. Well, you still have work within yourself, and you don't work within yourself to get that person. You work on yourself just because that is what you need to do in order to ascend on your own self, and also you want to. You know what I'm saying? You want to get better in your own self. You want to experience love within yourself. Because honestly, if you don't experience love within yourself, you can't experience love. You can't experience love with someone else. You won't you won't really find true love in that way, which is divine love, which is unconditional love, because you are still putting conditions on loving yourself. So of course you're going to put conditions on loving another person, right? Now, all right, so like I said, a lot of times the placement of Juno is associated with you finding your soulmate or your twin flame. So now let's get more into Juno, the asteroid, who is actually Hathor, the goddess of ancient Egypt. So Juno in the horoscope gives a good indication of the kind of marriage partner that we need and will get. Okay, not the partner we think we want. Those are actually ruled by Venus and Mars. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Those are the two planets that rule the type of partner we think we want. Okay? But this is actually the one we need, and actually the one we will wind up with. It's our destined mate. Now, Venus and Mars show what we consider to be our ideal man or woman. Those traits that we think would work for us. The influence of Juno is not the same in all of the horoscopes. Let me actually point that out, okay? And when I say horoscopes, I'm speaking of the horoscopes and the houses that they fall into, right? So it is the most influential in your 5th house, which is Leo, in your 7th house, which is Libra, and in your 9th house, which is Sagittarius, okay? Those are the most influential placements of Juno. So if you have Juno in your 5th, 7th, or 9th house, which are governed by Leo, Libra, and Sagittarius, all right? However, they are weak in the 1st house, which is governed by Aries, or the 3rd house governed by Gemini. Those are weak placements for Juno. The 5th house describes the type of people we tend to get involved with romantically, which is the house of Leo, which actually explains why the fuck I used to always meet and date Leos. At the beginning, it seemed like every man that was interested in me was a Leo, which is a fire sign, which is cardinal. Which is fixed, because Aries is cardinal. And so with them being fixed, they're not very adaptable. And I'm a Sagittarius who is fire as well. However, I'm a mutable sun, so I can change. Am I John Legend? I love that song. But yeah, so somebody who is, kind of like just stuck in a rut, in a routine, and don't want to change and don't want to grow. But then I'm a Sagittarius who's all about expansion and expanding her mind and expanding her horizons and everything. It was difficult, but at the time, again, I was more on the codependent type of relationship cycle and that loop, so it made sense. Now, where was I? Yes. So the 7th house tells us the kind of person our first marriage partner will be. And the 9th house describes our second marriage partner, if there is any. Now, I've actually been married before. I got married really young. I think I was 24. I think I was 24 when I first got married. I haven't been married since. I was married to a Cancer. Very emotional. A Cancer and a Sagittarius. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Y'all, it was something else, because, Sagittarius like, nigga, why you whining? Like, why you crying so much? Get your shit together is how. And then, but the Cancers are so emotional. They're ruled by the moon, and I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't conscious of that. Let me say that. I was not conscious of that because I wasn't conscious. So, it didn't seem as manly, and I have an Aries father, that's ruled by fucking Mars, governed by Mars. So that nigga, right off the cuff, he starts off the zodiac Aries, then he starts off the element of fire, the fire sign. So them niggas always like me, I'm first and everything, and they so yeah. And then I dated Leos with that roar, that lion. So then so it was different for me. So it's interesting to me that the 7th house represents your first marriage, and the 7th house is Libra. The 9th house, which is Sagittarius, I'm Sagittarius, sun sign, describes our second marriage partner. So that describes my second marriage partner, and for some of y'all too. Now, Juno works on a more fundamental level, right? And that means more fundamental level than Venus and Mars. Now, Juno can point to both the changes that will occur in your life after marriage and the characteristics of your destined spouse or spouses, if you're destined to have any. All right. Now, analyzing the relationship of Juno with other planets can yield information about how your spouse will treat you, what things will be hidden, and how your marriage will evolve. Now, in order to be able to understand Juno better, they say that it's best to analyze it together with Venus because, like I said before, Hathor and Isis, or Set being the moon, Hathor being the asteroid that's married to Jupiter. However, she also was the first Set because she was married to the elder Horus and she had the younger Horus. She was the mother of younger Horus. So that's why analyzing them together makes a lot of sense, because Venus represents your view of relationships, okay, and the types of relationships you prefer, all right, where Juno represents the type of relationship you're destined to have. That's why analyzing them together makes sense. Now, I'm going to break down what Juno is in a sign. So if your Juno is in Aries, right, the partner will tend to be fiery, aggressive, assertive, and active, all right. If your Juno is in Taurus, they will be solid, stable, and of course stubborn, describes this partner. You have Juno in Gemini. You should never, it says you should never marry a silent type. Talk, and more talk in a partner is what you need. So if you have Juno and Gemini, you can't deal with somebody who's quiet all the time. You need somebody who talks to you. It also helps if they are versatile and clever. Juno in Cancer, you need a sensitive, nurturing partner. Now, if Juno is making too many stressful aspects, you will have to nurture them, and they will whine and complain endlessly. I talked about this just a little, right? So you have to be careful about that if your Juno is in Cancer. You do need a sensitive and nurturing partner, but you don't want someone who has very stressful aspects that you feel like you have to nurture them all the time. Now, with Juno in Cancer, you're going to have to provide some type of nourishment. It's like they want to suck on the titty, and that's that's not for me to try to be mean or anything, but one of my friends is a Cancer. We actually had a little bit of a relationship for a while, and he's very like that needy type, that needing that mother type, but that's because Mother Moon is the ruling planet for them. So of course they want to be close to the mama's boob, okay? Now, Juno and Leo, know your partner does not have to be in show business, but they will tend to have showy qualities, be creative, or be very playful, okay? So someone who has Juno and Leo, they're gonna be that showstopper. They're gonna be the star, you know, and they're gonna be very creative because remember, Leo is that childlike essence that we all have too, and that's what Leo asks us to tap into. And that person will be very playful, so you will have a really good time with that person. Okay. Now, on the other hand, like they may be arrogant because that lion, bossy and childlike, I talked about that childlike essence, or immature, especially if Juno makes some stress aspects, okay? If in any case, give up any idea of attracting a shy, retiring type. You can't deal with the shy type. You need somebody who's a little bossy, as they say in Jamaica. You want a little bossiness to them. However, you don't want them to take it to the fucking top, okay? Juno and Virgo, you need a partner who is efficient, works hard, and watches out for your health. So they may be a little critical at times or at all times because they're in Virgo. Especially if you're, and you know, Virgo is about being the perfectionist, all right? So especially if your Juno has stress aspects, the square, opposition, and some conjunctions, okay? Juno and Libra, you need a partner who is charming, social, and has a good artistic sense. Juno and Scorpio, the need is for a partner who is intense, strong, and a bit secretive. They definitely must be good in bed. And we know Scorpio is definitely a sign about, to me, that represents somebody who's really good sexually. Yeah, I won't even go any further with that, but yeah, that's definitely the Scorpion type way. However, remember though, a Scorpion partner can be a bit secretive. They can be a bit secretive, so you that could be the negative side to that. And that wasn't in the information I found. I'm just going off of what I know. Yeah, they like to hide some things, all right? They can be a tad bit sneaky sometimes, the Scorpion. Now, Juno and Sagittarius, the partner will tend to come from an entirely different background. Now, this is some good stuff. An entirely different background, and may even be a foreigner. Even if the partner is not a Sagittarian, they may have Sagittarian traits. They may be involved in higher education or take frequent long trips, and they may talk a lot and listen only a little, if at all. Juno and Capricorn, your need is for a practical partner who is a good organizer and can help you in business. Don't expect them to show too much emotion because, again, they're a Capricorn. Okay? They're a Capricorn. I had one of my friends talking about he was dating a Capricorn and he's a Cancer. Cancers are emotional. Capricorns are not so much. So that's an interesting mix. That's like the opposite side of the spectrum to me. Okay? That's like one is in the Tropic of Cancer and one in the Tropic of Capricorn. All right? Now, Juno and Aquarius, which is actually my placement. You need a partner that's well different. Even though my Juno is in Aquarius, it is in the 9th house, which is Sagittarius. So, which is governed by Sagittarius. So you need a partner that's well different. They may be a genius, eccentric, or just plain insane. Maybe all of the above. It may be the partnership that is different. Aquarius is a sign that is fanatic about independence and having enough space. A bi-coastal marriage where the two people spend a good deal of time apart is a good situation for the Pallas and Aquarius individual. And Pallas is a different asteroid. So I won't get into that on this video. Because one, I would like to research it more. I don't like talking about things. I prefer not to talk about things and I haven't done any type of research on it, unless it's me having a soul food for thought where I'm just coming off the cusp and it's a feeling that I felt I needed to share something. Now, Juno and Pisces. This one may be satisfied with an imaginary partner. That's funny. If they happen to be married to or living with a real person, they can use imagination to eliminate the partner's shortcomings and add virtues to taste. Please be careful not to marry someone because you feel sorry for them or want to save them. Talked about this. You can't save nobody but yourself. You can't save nobody but yourself. Save it. That's like you on a boat. You know what I'm saying? The boat capsizes. You're drowning, everyone else around you is drowning. How you going to save somebody else if you drown? And you got to save yourself and get yourself on a comfortable spot first. Then you can try to bring others along. Now, we're going to talk about Juno in the houses. So what is important is where Juno is as far as what sign it is in your natal chart and then what house it is sitting in. All right. So mine is in Aquarius, but it's in the 9th house, which is a good place or location for it to be. Juno in the houses. Juno in the 1st house, which is governed by Aries. The first house is you, how you approach the world. Juno place here can make being a partner the centerpiece of your life. Juno in the 1st house can also give you an air of innocence, something like a newborn child. This is especially true if Juno is within 10 degrees of the ascendant and in the same sign. Remember, I talked about the decans in my last video, and if it is 10 degrees of the ascendant, that means that is in the 1st decan, which means that it is the same sign. Okay, so that means that person will be in Aries versus being in the 2nd decan, and it will be Aries. And at this time wouldn't be able to tell you what the 2nd and the 3rd decans are, because I literally just start getting into that. I know more about the Sagittarius because that is my sign, so I was just taking a look and researching that more, but more to come. Now, Juno in the 2nd house. This is a house of money, possessions, and one's sense of self-worth. Marriage will likely bring an increase in the sense of self-worth. They could also seek to get married to improve their sense of self-worth, but of course that seldom works, because when you're getting married so that you can feel like you are more or more valuable. No, that's not the reason to get married. Now, in this case, they usually don't pick the best partner. That's why the second house is not a good one. The first house is also not the best one, placement as well for Juno. I'll have to burp again. Excuse me. They will tend to stay even in a bad marriage because divorce for them could be devastating. And that's because they're thinking about it more on a financial aspect. Oh, if I divorce this person, they're gonna take all my money, or if I divorce this person, then they're not gonna leave me with any money. So that's more of a selfish reason to stay married. They could also marry for money or regard their marriage partner as a possession. On the other hand, they may literally be married to their possessions, spending most of their time accumulating more and more. So they can spend more time accumulating possessions than actually building and accumulating a true love with the person you marry. So that's why that's not a very good placement for your Juno. Not saying that you can't turn things around, however, yeah, especially if the person is not conscious and aware. Now, Juno in the third house, which is governed actually by Gemini. The second house was the second house is governed by Taurus. That's why it was about money and possessions. Communication for the third house. Communication will tend to be and especially important here because remember, Geminis are the talkers. And marriage or partnership will tend to improve the communication ability of anyone with this placement, especially if there are harmonious aspects to Juno, sextile, and trine. Stressful aspects, on the other hand, square and opposition, could indicate that the marriage can reduce communications abilities. Because sometimes you always talking. You always got to talk it through. You always got to talk it through. But you're not resolving nothing because the other person just wants to talk about why their point is right or why they feel the way they feel, because it's Gemini, why they feel the way they feel, and why that other person should feel that way as well, or maybe that they feel the person don't get them. Geminis are air signs, so they be in the clouds, like the head be in the clouds. So that house is, yeah, definitely, that's another reason why I said that may not be the best placement for Gemini, for Juno. To me, the first, second, and the third, no. So far the first three out, yeah. Now Juno in the fourth house, this person can be married to their home. Juno in the fourth house, which is Cancer, can also indicate a need for a partner who is attached to the domestic environment. Another possibility is that you become more of a domestic type after marriage. So you're more like my mother, who was had that routine of what she felt a wife was supposed to be: cook, clean, yada yada yada. Pretty much stayed in the house, and they really didn't start traveling till later on. But yeah, so you're more focused on the house, the kids, and work and stuff, your domestic responsibilities, and so you might not necessarily, it could be a good aspect if that's what you really want. If you're not about traveling, you just want to stay where you are and live, and you're comfortable in that you built your nice comfy house, and that's where you want to be, but you're also focused on building on your marriage, because again, the fourth house is also about foundation and it's about the house. So it could be a good aspect. It's just not as strong as the fifth, the seventh, and the ninth house. Now, Juno in the fifth house. Marriage tends to improve creativity with this placement. The fifth house is Libra, by the way. No, the fifth house is Leo. That's why it's creativity. The partner would also tend to be a creative person or good with children, sports, games, and hobbies. If afflicted, though, watch out. They may act like a child themselves and want to play all the time instead of work. Sounds like a typical Leo. You know what I'm saying? They're a lot of fun. But if they're immature and not conscious, it can turn into them being more of a child. So you'll feel like if you have children with them, you'll feel like shit. I got another child in the house. Now, Juno in the sixth house. This person can be married to their work. They are more likely to marry a co-worker. This is Libra now. More often, though, Juno in the sixth house shows a need for a partner that one can work with. If there are stress aspects, the square or opposition or the conjunction to the the square or the opposition or the conjunction, then partnership won't work or blend well. In that case, either you will try to turn the partner into a servant, or they will try to do the same to you. Strive for some equality here if you don't want the partnership to break up. So even though it's in Libra, it is not, it can become something that is not balanced. One person trying to dominate the other. basically. Make the other person less than, make them a servant of yours. Juno in the 7th house. This simply increases the need for marriage or partnership. Those things will tend to be the cornerstone of your life, right? So the 7th house, wait, hold on. The 5th house was Leo. No, so the 6th house was Virgo. My apologies, y'all. Go back. Rewind. The sixth house is Virgo. That's why it's no balance, like Libra on the Libra scales. The Virgo is that person that's about the details. They're a perfectionist, so they can become a dominating to their partner and make their partner less than, versus showing more of a balance. That's why the 6th house may also not be the best place. The 7th house is Libra, so that's more of a balance, and that's why that is a good house. It says this simply increases the need for a marriage or partnership. Those things will tend to be the cornerstone of your life. So if it's in your 7th house, you actually strive for marriage and partnership, love and marriage. That's what you want. Juno, which my moon sign, it makes sense because in my moon sign, I partially feel that way, and then feel that tug to have somebody who balances you, who can make you feel like you really do have a partnership. You are friends, you are everything together. Like you really rock with one another. You ride for one another, and to have a beautiful balance. Now, Juno in the 8th house is Scorpio. You need a sex machine for a partner, Scorpio. Since the 8th house rules the partner's possessions, they may also regard you as a possession, especially if there are stress aspects. Marriage and partnership can also help you to reconstruct or transform yourself, whether you want to or not. Remember, it's Scorpio, and Scorpio is about the truth and about transformation, so that makes sense. Now, the next placement that is a good placement, remember the 5th, the 7th, and the 9th are good placements for Juno. Juno in the 9th house is where Juno is for me. Remember, I've already been married the first time, and so this would be about a second marriage. So you need a partner with whom you can travel long trips, not short ones, and philosophize with. The partner will tend to be someone born a great distance from you, even a foreigner, okay, or from a totally different background. This makes me smile because the 9th house is about travel and expansion. It's Sagittarius, which is governed by Jupiter. And earlier it talked about how I would have more of an eccentric partner who could be, we could possibly have a bi-coastal marriage. But when you get into the 9th house and you listen to more of the 9th house, it's more about us traveling together. Sometimes we might be on different coasts or different parts of the world, but we still travel with one another, and we can talk about philosophy and really talk about things that are important to me, which makes sense. It really fits me. That's why it makes me smile. So this makes sense when it says Juno is about what you are destined to have, not necessarily what you want. And it's beautiful that I'm destined to have somebody who would get me and how I love to travel and go to different foreign places and countries and experience the culture of, not just go and be a spectator and be on vacation and be able to say, oh, I went to here and I took these pictures here. But actually, I love to be around the locals. I love that shit. Like in Jamaica, that's why I spent most of my time with the locals. I met other tourists, but they were cool. No lie, they were cool. But the experience of being around the locals and them telling me, like, teaching me their lingo and stuff, and shit, I was in heaven. So that's definitely what I love. And Jamaican men, something else too. Now, Juno in the 10th house. This placement of Juno can indicate marriage to the career. Reason being, this is Capricorn, guys. All right. More likely, it will show that the partner will help you in your career and social standing. If there are stressful aspects of Juno, the partner may help you whether you want them to or not. I mean, they're going to pull you along the way because Capricorn has, an appearance to uphold. You know what I'm saying? They have a career. They need to look a certain way. The partner, or you may not like the partner, but you feel you cannot get a divorce because either your career or your social standing will suffer. Capricorn. You don't like the way, you don't want nobody to look at you crazy because you have built with this person and now y'all have a certain status. If you divorce them, then what's going to happen to your status. Okay. Now, Juno in the 11th house, which The 11th house would be Aquarius. Marriage to social activities is a possibility here. You could marry a friend or become friends with the partner after marriage. The partner may be the one involved with organizations or social causes, or you could get involved with those things yourself after marriage. Juno in the 12th house, Pisces. Watch out for this one. There's an increased chance that the first marriage or business partner can do you in, or even be an enemy. That's fucked up. More likely it is you who are doing yourself in by getting attracted to the wrong person. This will be especially true if there are stressful aspects to Juno or to the ruler of the 7th house. It could also work out that the partner is really a nice person, but is restricted in some way and requires your constant help. Okay, so that is about the houses. Now we're going to get into the aspects, Juno aspects. Juno in aspect to any planet can mean you will tend to attract a partner who has traits of the sign that planet rules. For instance, Juno aspecting Mars could attract you to an Aries type. So it kind of helps you kind of more pinpoint the sign that of the person that you might, marry or be with. Juno aspects the Sun. There will be a tendency to attract showy, dramatic Leo types of partners. Conversely, this person could themselves become more showy and dramatic after marriage. The harmonious aspects, conjunction, sextile, and trine can act in a similar fashion to Venus. They increase the charm and social graces to a degree. But Juno goes further. It can give one an air of innocence. We like people with Venus in conjunction the Sun because they are charming. Those with Juno in harmonious aspect to the Sun are liked because they are cute. The stressful aspects, however, are indicators of ego conflicts with partners. Sun, ego, makes sense. The stressful aspects, however, are indicators, like I said, of ego. Frequently, they are big problems with getting and holding on to a partner. Damn it. Get it out. In many cases, there is no desire to have a partner at all. So that's actually very interesting. When Juno aspects the Sun. Very, very interesting. Now, Juno aspects the Moon. The attraction will be too emotional and nurturing partners and domestic types. At least they will tend to be nurturing and with the harmonious aspects, conjunction, sextile, and trine. The stressful aspects, square and opposition, can indicate a clash between your emotional and partnership needs. You could get a partner who is over emotional and or whines a lot. Conversely, the partner could bring out those traits in you. Juno aspects Mercury. Well, your partner won't be quiet. Forget the silent type. Anyone who marries you will have to communicate. The harmonious aspects, conjunction, sextile, and trine indicate good communication between the two of you. It could also show that your ability to communicate improves with partnership. The stressful aspects, square and opposition, can indicate communication problems with partners. One of you may try to stifle the other person because you both want to talk at once. So talking over each other. Juno aspects Venus. The attraction will be to a charming partner with good artistic ability and taste. At least that will tend to be true for the harmonious aspects, which are again conjunction, sextile, and trine. The stressful aspects, which are square in opposition, could attract a lazy, slothful, and indolent partner. Partnership could also bring out these traits in you. With stressful aspects, there will tend to be a clash between your partnership needs, Juno, and your ability to express love and affection, Venus. As a result, you might find it difficult to express love to your partner or vice versa, and would seek to do this elsewhere, which means you can move on to the next person and have an affair. All right. Juno aspects Mars. Marriage and partnership will stir you to action. In fact, you may need a partner to be active. You may need a partner to be active at all times. The partners you attract will tend to be active, assertive, and aggressive. Mars, of course. Conversely, having a partner may bring out these traits in you. The stressful aspects, conjunction, square, and opposition, are indicators of arguments with partners. One of you may try to dominate the other. Juno aspects Jupiter. The partner will tend to be expansive, optimistic, and jovial. Jovial comes from the Jupiter. Marriage and partnerships will also have an expansive effect on you. Yes, it can make you more optimistic. Watch out that it doesn't make you fat as well. At least this will be true for harmonious aspects, conjunction, sextile, and trine. The stressful aspect, square and opposition, can attract an over-optimistic partner who is always expecting their lucky break to be right around the corner. There could also be a clash over religious or philosophical differences. The over-expansiveness could also apply to extramarital affairs. If you have a stress aspect between Juno and Jupiter, either you or your partner might think that the to have and hold and love part of the marriage vow means anyone whom you fancy at the moment. Juno aspects Saturn. The partners will tend to be older in spirit, if not in actual years. With the harmonious aspects sextile and trine, partners are likely to be solid, practical, and dependable, but unless there are other indicators, don't expect them to be the life of the party. Conversely, partnership could bring out the solid, practical, and dependable side of you. The stressful aspects, conjunction, square, and opposition may cause marriage to be delayed or even denied. If you have this one, try not to get married before your first Saturn return, which occurs around the age of 29. Stressful aspects between Juno and Saturn can have a similar effect to Saturn placed in the 7th house. An early marriage between the Saturn return will slowly decay until there is no affection left and the marriage collapses. Juno Saturn stress aspects can also indicate someone who makes a bad marriage for practical reasons, such as security. They will also be prone to stay in a bad marriage to protect their social image, or because a half a loaf is better than one. As if better is better than none. As if there is anything practical about having a bad marriage. These people have to learn to cut their losses and make a fresh start. Juno aspects Uranus. If you have this combination in your horoscope, especially the stressful aspects, the conjunction, square, opposition, Uranus, just know that Uranus always has to be different. When Juno aspects Uranus, the partner or the partnership has to be different. With the harmonious aspects, sextile and trine, you don't get into as much trouble. The partner will tend to be independent or very bright or a bit odd. The partnership itself will likely be more open with each partner doing their own thing and going their own way. Uranus is fanatic about having enough of its own space. The stressful aspects can lead to several marriages, i.e. Elizabeth Taylor has Juno in Cancer and square Uranus in Aries. Okay? Uranus is also in close conjunction with Venus. Now, if you have a Juno-Uranus stress aspect, don't rush into marriage and forget about having a partnership that is conventional. It will bore you to tears and divorce. So make sure that you and your partner each has enough space. It helps if one of you travels a lot. Uranus aspects are perfect for bicoastal marriages. Absence for this combination truly makes the heart grow fonder. Juno aspects Neptune. If you have a stressful aspect, conjunction, square, opposition between Juno and Neptune, please do not marry someone because you feel sorry for them or because you want to save them. Remember, because this is the Pisces, this magic number. If you do, you will never again have the problem of getting into a marriage for the wrong reasons. Please memorize it. Okay? They said dial 911 on that particular site. But on the positive side, especially with the harmonious aspects, sextile and trine, the partner will tend to be sensitive, empathetic, and imaginative. Marriage and partnership can also bring out these same traits in you. In all cases, there will be an inclination to over-idolize the partner to see what we want to see about them. Juno aspects Pluto. Partners will tend to be intense and secretive. Scorpio. Sex can be volcanic. Scorpio. Pluto is the planet of extremes, death, and transformation. Either your power is that of your partner will be affected by marriage. One of you is likely to be transformed in some way. The harmonious aspects, sextile and trine, can bring out a strength you never thought you had. The stressful aspects, conjunction, square, and opposition, will bring out strength too in the form of you dictating your attitudes and your power struggles. One of you will try to dominate the other. The feelings towards the partner can easily go from I love you to I hate you to I'm obsessed with you. Even if you two break up, this will be the partner you never forget for better or worse. Now, Juno aspects the ascendant. Juno in conjunction with the ascendant makes us more attractive like Venus, but while Venus uses charm, Juno attracts us by giving us an air of innocence like that of a young baby. This trait is also present with the other harmonious aspects, sextile and trine, but not quite as strong. The opposition is not a stressful aspect here, but remember that an opposition to the ascendant is also a conjunction to the descendant. The conjunction to the ascendant makes a person more marriage oriented, especially if Juno is in the first house. If Juno is in the 12th house of the ascendant, however, then there will still be an increased desire to marry, but there will be increased restrictions of some sort. Okay, see Juno in the 12th house. With the square aspect of Juno to the midheaven, there would tend to be extra stress in marriage that requires constant adjustment and readjustment. Juno aspects in the midheaven. Aspects to the midheaven affect one's career and public image. Juno ruled careers include marriage counselor and people who work in organizations that try to prevent wife battering and child abuse. Like Venus, Juno has an attraction for all occupations that involve beauty and adornment. This also includes anything involving the arts. When it comes to career, it doesn't matter if an aspect to the midheaven is harmonious or stressful. In fact, the stressful aspects can frequently bring greater success since they generate more power. Those with harmonious aspects may take it too easy and not push hard enough. Now, how to put it all together. All right, so suppose you have Juno in your Libra, a need for a charming, artistic partner, but is in the 5th house, children, creativity, fun, and games. You would tend to need a charming partner that you could have fun with. Children would also take an increased importance to you as well. Now, what if Juno is in Libra? What if Juno is in Libra, where in the 10th house? Okay, you will still need a charming partner because of Libra, only now fun is not what you prefer. The charming partner would have to help you in your career because it's in your 10th house, which is in Capricorn. Now, how about Scorpio in the 5th house? There would still be a need for fun and games, but now the partner is intense and volcanic. Of course, sex takes an increased importance because it's Scorpio. All right, so you just would play around. You can mix and match based upon the placement of Juno as far as what number house it's in, and also what sign it's in. So how mine's is in the 9th house, which is governed by Sagittarius, but it is that house is Aquarius. So, you know, based upon both of them talking about us being with travel and things like that, but we could also be able to be cool and do bi-coastal because absence will make the heart grow fonder. So anywho's, you know, just wanted to give you guys some information on Juno and how she plays into your natal chart. So if you haven't pulled your natal chart, you can go to Cafe Astrology. It does tell you what Juno's placement is, because in mine's is where it's, I got that my Juno was in Aquarius, which was in my 9th house. Okay, so I really hope this video gave you guys some much needed clarification to help you be able to kind of pinpoint soulmate and twin flame destinies for you. Not that you should be so focused on it, because the focus is really on self. However, it's still some knowledge and information that you could learn. So I heart you guys, sending you love out to the ether. Peace.